on April 14 at 6:00 p.m. And I will go ahead and call the roll. Aldrich.
Here.
Bigford.
Here.
Helmrich.
Here.
Marcy.
Here. Saugatuck Township, Allegan County.
Osmond's here in Saugatuck Township, Allegan County, Michigan. Helmrich.
Yes, here also in Saugatuck Township, Allegan County, Michigan.
Bigford. Bigford.
Sorry. Here, Saugatuck Township, Allegan County, Michigan.
Everybody present and accounted for. So I have to find out my stuff. I've been working on the connection thing.
I'm Saugatuck County and Saugatuck Township too, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
maybe we need to start with Bigford now, or Marcy. She was on the ball.
Yeah, okay, now we can have some Zoom instructions for our guests. I think we've all done it a few times, but
Yeah.
Please say your name before speaking and before making a motion. Board members are required to state their location during roll call, which we did. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. That's *6 if you're on the phone. Do not click unknown links that may be shared in the Zoom chat. The township does not disseminate information with this function. The meeting is being recorded. Please be respectful to those speaking and do not interrupt. If anyone is disruptive to the point of preventing the township board from conducting business, you will get one warning before being removed from the meeting. If there is a problem with Zoom, the meeting will be reset utilizing the same meeting information. If the meeting is unable to continue, a notice will be issued on the township Facebook page and website. Reminder to board and commission members that emailing or texting is not allowed during a public meeting. Please be patient as we're all learning a new system. We will attempt to be as deliberate as possible to get through this as a team.
thank you, Mr. Fry. Could I please have confirmation that everybody has reviewed the agenda and take a motion on that?
This is Aldrich. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I meant the whole entire agenda, but
Oh, I read that too. I move to approve the agenda as presented.
thank you. Is there support?
This is Marcy. I'll support.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Aldrich,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Helmrich,
Yes.
Bigford,
Yes.
Osmond, yes, the agenda is approved. Now I can open up the public comment portion of the meeting. If there's anyone out there who would like to speak. I see we have Chris Clark.
Yes, thank you, Madam Supervisor and board members. I see that my proclamation for National Trails Day is on the new business agenda, and I want to thank the board in advance for their support of this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? Mr. Clark. Donna Leonard.
Hello, Donna Leonard, Saugatuck Township, and I'm listening in, and I'm not too proficient at this Zoom deal, but I may want to make a comment at the end, so it looked like I had to say something now. I may or may not want to make a comment after I hear.
Very good. You're more than welcome to make a comment at the end as well.
Thank you.
What's the score?
3-1.
What'd you say?
Michigan's got this in the bag.
Yeah.
I'm looking for someone else to make a comment. If you're not speaking, please keep your microphone muted.
Commissioner Kappinga, if I could, please.
Mr. Kappinga.
All right. First of all, it's great seeing all the board members, and just some news from the county. Obviously, many of you have read in the paper that the COVID fiscal recovery plan We're looking at 22 or $23 million, and we still have many questions. I think MAC has sent some 200 questions to them to see how that can be spent and what it can't be spent on. Just to tell you that there are obviously some things already that are coming to the top that we're getting calls on. In our last board meeting a couple days ago, we had the supervisor from IASA come in and just said they spent some $60,000 in simply getting hotspots for their students for that system. And obviously broadband, as you know, has been just a huge topic along with water and many other issues. But we're just at the beginning stages of what that money could be spent for and what we'll spend it on. Also, we just got through this past week with a report from Judge Scotchulis from 57th District Court, just to give you an idea what COVID has meant to the court system. We were at some 250 inmates. They tried to lower that as much as they could. They're down to about 180 inmates. They're only arresting people for assaultive type crimes, both felony and misdemeanors. They were going to try to get their first jury trial in on April 13. Obviously, with the COVID, it's jumping up. They canceled that. And he said they've had just many stresses within the court system that they're trying to get by with. And there's some new rulings that are coming down that are really suspicious for him. He said that the courts are even looking at not allowing them to even put out subpoenas. They want to ask people to come in now, not tell them to come in. And he goes, I don't know how that will go. This past meeting we've had 19 of the 24 townships agree to this ATV issue. And I don't know if your board has discussed that much, but we're looking at the sheriff and the prosecutor have gotten together to have a one statement ordinance as far as that will apply to all the townships. And there's been just a gentleman, Scott Beltman. I don't know if he's spoken at your board meetings. Scott has run on this thing with a bunch of people and has gotten, he's gotten the sheriff and the prosecutor just to talk. And now we're having our attorneys look at their proposition as far as for an ordinance and see if it's sound in what they do and say. I don't know if you're aware of it, but Palisades has about one more year to go. That's 600 employees that will be looking for work. We figure there's about 200 in Barrie, 200 in Van Buren, about 200 in Ottawa and Allegan. So that issue is coming up. And then just lastly, the West Side Park, many of you, I'm sure, go there as I do. And we just agreed to put $25,000 into that north side stairs going down. We're going to look at the main stairs as far as what we can do. And we're going to probably hire an engineer to decide what's the best way to stick some money into that without us having to do it again. But thanks for giving me time to speak. Hope you have a good meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Kappinga. Is there anyone else from the general public that would like to make a comment? Wave your hand or make a noise and we will recognize you. Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public comment section of the meeting and consider our consent agenda. I assume everybody's had a chance to look at that and comfortable with everything on there, in which case I would entertain a motion.
This is Marcy. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there support?
I'll support.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to point out one item because it's a new one for our consent agenda. So hopefully you've looked at it. I've submitted, this is our second now non-corporate resolution for working with a municipal investment firm. And this is for MBS, which is Michigan-based. It's multi-business, what's the last name? Services, the securities. But used by both of our neighboring cities, and we're happy to start that relationship on our improved investment quest. Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like I have motion and support. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call the roll. Marcy?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes, motion carries. We can move on to our presentations. I think we have a presentation from Kathy Brockington regarding the Thank you, Kathy, for taking the time to bring this to our attention. Kathy, you have the floor.
Thank you for having me. I sent a note, an email on March 4th, which I think I hope you all were able to see. And I just wanted to follow up with that. And I have part of this slide presentation that I want to go through first because I don't want to take up too much time. But the League of Women Voters is sorry. The League of Women Voters is working with citizens in Michigan. After 2 years ago, Michigan people voted to change the Constitution and to allow voters to draw the district lines or help draw the district lines. And so we have this year the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, which is
Kathy, which slide do you want to be on?
You can do number 1.
One. Okay. There we go.
Or number 2, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Michigan Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, that's at MICRC that you see on there. And the citizens will draw lines, not politicians. And I am here representing the League of Women Voters. We are a nonpartisan organization that encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League does not support political candidates or oppose parties or candidates. But you may be familiar with our efforts to educate voters through our nonpartisan Vote for One voter guide and candidate forums. We do take positions on issues after studying them. And we were formed in 1920 as an outgrowth of the suffragist movement. And we're in 50 states, and here in Michigan, we have 27 local leagues. And membership is open to anyone, male or female, 16 and older. Okay, on slide 3. What is redistricting? Following every census, you can see the lines of the Michigan congressional districts, state senate, and state house districts are reviewed and redrawn every 10 years following the national census. And that's after the population shifts are identified and published. This year, of course, we know that the census information is going to be later than usual. So the deadlines are going to be changed for the redistricting commission to do their work. And the commission right now is working on with the Michigan Supreme Court. Okay, go to slide 20. I'm going to skip over a whole bunch of stuff about redistricting in Michigan to show you what the commission looks like. Oh, I skipped something. I'm sorry, I'm not used to doing this. Anyway, before the committee votes on a map, the map has to be tested to ensure compliance with criteria, and I'll go over what that is. And then the final plan can be adopted with a majority vote of the commission, and it has to include at least 2 commissioners from each major political party, plus 2 commissioners who are affiliated with neither party. And there are 13 members on this commission, 4 Democrats, 4 who affiliate with Republican, and 5 who have certified and attested that they are independents. Okay, so then the slide 22. The criteria for the districts in order of priority. First, you have to have equal population and comply with federal law, including the Constitution and the Voting Rights Act. Second, they have to be geographically contiguous. In other words, they have to match up. And then the third one is what I wanted to talk to you about. Districts shall reflect the state's diverse population and communities of interest that share cultural or historical characteristics or economic interests. And then there are 4 other things that happen. Okay, so going on then to slide 26. What is a community of interest? In the Michigan Constitution, it says that this is what a community of interest is. It's very general. Populations that share cultural characteristics or historical characteristics or economic interests or any of the combination of those plus other things. But these are the main criteria is the cultural, historical, economic. Notice there's no racial, because it's illegal to draw a district just based on race. And no politicians can draw, no district can be drawn to favor any politician. Okay, then and Michigan is in a really good position because we're only the 3rd state that has had this independent citizens commission. So this concept of communities of interest is a brand new concept in Michigan, and it is key to the new process. And so, and I thought, based on what I said to you in my email, that this area was an excellent example of a community of interest. And I'm on slide 28 now. Examples of communities of interest. The Hispanic Latino populations, of course, there would have to be other things in there. Adjacent school districts with similar issues. Agricultural groups like dairy farmers or grape farmers or orchard growers like we have here in Western Michigan. A group that's sharing a watershed, or we have Lake Michigan that we are in Kalamazoo River. Native American tribes, neighborhood associations. These are just some examples of different communities of interest. Okay, slide 29. And they matter because communities of interest are building blocks under the Constitution. They're meant to be the building blocks for legislative districts. And the political theory is that the fundamental purpose is to group members into a single district. Whoops, sorry. Rather than scattering them among 2 or more districts, because in the concept of gerrymandering, there was packing and cracking. Well, this is a way to, cracking is a way to break up a group so that they have a less effective legislation because they have to be represented by 2 people. Well, communities of interest would allow for these people to be together. And then they could elect the lawmaker of their choice, and they could work with influencing that lawmaker. Okay, so that is all that I need from this PowerPoint. And as I said in my note, we have a lot of common interests that are that bring us together as a community of interest in Saugatuck Township, Saugatuck City, and Douglas City. Tourism, independent business, small town, suburban, rural population, small agricultural businesses, strong LGBT community, the library district, the sewer and water district, the fire district, the planning document, the school district, the Lake Michigan issues and inland lake conservation issues that we have around here. We have shared historic and tribal connections. And those are just a few of the things that I came up with off the top of my head. And we also share interests and traits with South Haven, Glen.
Out and play with a couple of runners on.
Just a second, Kathy, we had a technical glitch. Just 1 second. Hey Kathy, can you unmute yourself? There we go.
Are you okay?
Yep, we're good. We didn't hear that little bit.
Oh, okay. The list of stuff or after that?
After.
The list of
After.
commonalities?
Kathy, it was after the list.
Okay, thank you. So it occurred to me that we could look at ourselves and in each of our areas, and we could create a community of interest or a jurisdiction of interest, because there's three communities actually, but whatever they call it. But what it would do would be, for this group, it would be, we would all just say, we would like to be kept together when you commission members are looking at drawing maps. And so for state house, state senate districts might be really important. And Saugatuck Township have in the past, when the congressional district was drawn in 2011, the top half of Allegan County ended up in the second district with Holland and everybody north. And the bottom half, starting with M89 and Fenville to south, was in the sixth district. So our whole county was split in half. So in the past, we have had a situation where representation for Allegan County as a whole has not been ideal. And then I think with the state house districts as they are and things like that, that there's a way that we could keep ourselves together. We could keep our identity with the groups that are further south to us if people want to talk to the local town, Ganges Township or Casco or Glen, or, but we need to be contiguous. Anyway, so I'm proposing that we have one person from Saugatuck Township, Saugatuck City, Douglas City at this point. And we get together and we talk about the things that make us a community of interest and how we can prepare a testimony for the commissioners of this committee, which is coming in May and June, and that we could present ourselves. There is no one on this commission who is from West Michigan. There is a person coming to a meeting in Holland next week, Thursday. She is from Battle Creek. And there's another person who's on the commission who's from Reed City, and she was talking about where to have meetings, and she left off the whole southwest of Michigan. So we really need to toot our horn as to who's in southwest Michigan. The other issue is that I have heard discussion from people in Battle Creek that they would like to be with Kalamazoo. And you can see if two large population areas are put together, then what does that do to the smaller areas around when they were drawing congressional districts and things like that. So there are some questions that we could talk about, and that this is not a formal merge or anything like that. This is totally informal. It's only for the purpose of getting together to talk about the lines for the redistricting. And then in 10 years, they'll do it again. So we might need to do something again, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so that's why I wanted to present to you this information and where I was with this. And technically, because I'm a member of the League of Women Voters and I'm supposed to be helping a lot of people do this, I cannot personally advocate for this group at the commission meetings, but I have been trained and I can teach you all how to do it. And I know Saugatuck City is on board, Douglas is on board, and I had Garnet Lewis and Barry Johnson. And I don't know who's going to be Douglas, but they're both on board with this. And so if one person has time to and is interested in this, when we could get this going, and then you folks could go on from there. And that's basically, there's no money involved either. Doesn't cost a cent.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. I'm sure we'll be in touch one way or another. And we can move on to our next guest speaker is legal assistance presentation. Do I have somebody present? Maybe Ms. Baker?
Yes, hi, I'm Judge Baker. I'm we're on the board for the Legal Assistance Center, and we have wanted to present to you some information about the center. One of our concerns about the Legal Assistance Center is that it appears that a lot of people still don't know about us. And we've been in operation, this will be our 9th year. And since our opening 9 years ago, almost 9 years ago, we've served over 19,000 patrons. The Legal Assistance Center is a nonprofit organization that is housed in the lower level of the county building in Allegan. It is, we created it, started the impetus for it about 10 years ago. So I've been a judge, I'm in my 11th year, but prior to that, I was in the prosecutor's office in Allegan County for 28 years. And in that position, I dealt a lot with victims of domestic violence. It was one of the areas where I was very involved. And we would work a lot with victims of domestic violence, often people who were married and had children together. And they were victimized by their partner in that marriage or in that relationship. And we could help them with the criminal process and get them through the process of a prosecution of a case for their assault, being a victim of an assault. But what happened is, and we saw it happen time and time again, is that victims would return to batterers. They didn't know how to get away legally, and they couldn't find the resources to get away, even if they were able to get away legally. But the prosecutor's office couldn't help them with that. As a prosecutor, I couldn't help them process a divorce or a custody action. And that was often the threat for why people returned to that relationship, because the partner, the batterer, would do a lot of things to keep them away from their children, keep them away from the finances, keep them threatening them to stay, or else they would lose everything. And it was very difficult for them to get away. When I became a judge, what happened was I saw these same people trying to represent themselves in getting a divorce or getting custody in regards to their children. And they were horribly unsuccessful because the legal system, as I'm sure many of you know, is not an easy system to navigate. But they didn't have the money to hire a lawyer. And I'm sure you're aware of some of the fees that lawyers charge. It's not unusual for a lawyer in Allegan County to charge anywhere from $250 to $350 an hour to process a custody case or a divorce case. Well, one of the typical things that happens in a batterer relationship is that the financial finances are also very close to the batterer. They don't allow the victim to have access to finances, which even contributes to them not being able to get away from the relationship. So when I became a judge, I kept seeing this happen. I said, you know, there's got to be a solution to this. What can we do? And we did some investigating. I had a group of people that I was working with to work on this issue. And we found out that there was this concept of a legal assistance center. So the Legal Assistance Center helps people who can't afford attorneys in civil cases to represent themselves in court. The Legal Assistance Center is different than legal aid. Legal aid provides actual legal services and represents someone directly in court as their attorney. This is legal assistance. As I'm sure you also know, legal aid is limited in the number of people they can represent. The Legal Assistance Center is a somewhat of a difficult process or difficult concept for some people to understand, but the difference is we provide assistance. We provide people with the information they need to get in the door, to get access to justice. And that's really our whole concept, is to help people get what they need from the courts. I can't, as a judge, say to a litigant in front of me, well, you should have filed this, or you should have done this proof of service this way, or you should have filed this in your motion. I can't do that as a judge. I might think it and realize that if they had some help, they could have gotten in the door and gotten their access to justice. But I can't do that as a judge. So what the Legal Assistance Center does, we've been incorporated as a nonprofit organization, is we help those people understand the forms, understand the language, understand how to do things that I might consider to be simple because I'm in the system, like serving papers and filing a proof of service that they did serve those papers, those types of things that seem simple to me, but they're not simple if you're not involved in the legal world. So we have in the center, and I think Linda Teeter was on the screen, she's our part-time executive director of the center. We have an associate director. We have 2 part-time employees. We're a very small organization with an annual budget of about $60,000. We use interns and volunteers to assist our director and associate director in helping patrons who come to the center. The center is open 5 days a week. We have limited hours on Friday. We're open from 8:30 to 12:30. And on Monday, we're open until 3:30, 8:30 to 3:30. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, it's 8:30 to 4:30. And Linda, please correct me if I'm wrong on those specific hours. So it's a walk-in, first come, first served concept. There's no charge. You might have a charge for filing fee or for fees to copy something. And we also have divorce packets that people can purchase at a very limited, very minimal cost that to assist them in filing for divorce. We partner with a statewide website, Michigan Legal Help. And I don't know if any of you have used that website. It's an excellent website for all kinds of legal resources to understand them and to know how to process things. And they have all kinds of forms on that website also. And so we partner with them to make sure we get the right forms to the litigants who come in and assist them. Because it's a nonprofit organization that can serve anyone, we could end up serving 2 sides of the same case. We could serve a mom and a dad. But we serve anyone who comes in the door. We don't tell them what to do, we tell them how to do it. One of the areas that we serve is in probate court. We help people with estates, filing for guardianship. We've helped people in landlord-tenant cases. We've helped people in getting expungements in criminal cases. The vast majority of our work is in custody, parenting time, and child support. Only 20% or more of our patrons earn $40,000 or more a year. So if you have a family of 4 and you have $40,000 income or less, you can't afford an attorney. I don't know how you could. It's impossible for the type of litigation that a divorce takes or a custody case takes. One of the things that we do that the Legal Assistance Center has helped in is a situation of adoption. So I had a case once where a family was coming in to finalize adoption for 2 little boys. They were adorable. And when we have adoptions in court, I don't get to do them very often. Judge Buck does most of those, but every once in a while I get to do that. And they were coming in to finalize their adoption. The actual biological legal father had terminated his rights. And the mother's husband, the stepfather, was going to adopt these children. And 2 little boys, I think they're around ages of 8 and 10. So we had balloons, we had a cake, we wanted to make it fun for them. So they came in and the boys were so excited. They wanted to have their new last name on their jackets for school. And it was one of those glorious days in court, which doesn't happen very often when you handle a divorce docket. But it was great. And at the end of it, the mother said, just want to say that I want to thank the Allegan County Legal Assistance Center for helping me to get this done, because I couldn't have done it without them. And she couldn't afford an attorney to do it, yet she was able to manage to do it herself with the help of the center. There for. We're there to help people. And the Legal Assistance Center last year only served 40 people from Saugatuck Township. And I think we need to get the word out so that the people who live in Saugatuck Township know that resource is there. So I don't know how, if there's any way we could get some information to you, if you could put on your webpage, just to get that information out of this really excellent free service that we have. Another person that's on our board is Sheriff Baker. And he only has 1 K in his last name, so he's kind of deficient in that way. But I think he'd like to speak to this issue also, if you would allow it.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Sheriff Baker.
Thank you. I just appreciate you guys giving us a little bit of time to talk about the center. And to give you a little bit of an idea of my perspective, the judge very thoroughly covered a lot of what the center does, so I'm not going to rehash that. But I do want to tell you a little bit about why it's important to me as a law enforcement official here in Allegan County. I've spent my career in law enforcement here in Allegan County, and I feel I'm very comfortable with criminal law, but civil law is something that is a whole different realm. And the criminal justice system is challenging for people in the legal system. And we're all familiar with the fact that if someone commits a crime, they're entitled to an attorney to represent them at no cost if they cannot afford one. But that's not that way in the civil world. And like the judge said, these people are attempting to navigate the system on their own. So why it's important to me is, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when our deputies are dispatched to the scene of a civil dispute, maybe it's a domestic violence situation, maybe it's a custody dispute, whatever the case may be, oftentimes they don't have access to information. So who are they going to ask? They're going to ask the law enforcement officers. We're not lawyers. We cannot legally give legal advice. So why it's important to us is now we have a resource that we can present to the people, because our deputies, they want to help. They want to be helpful to the people that we serve in our community. And when those people are desperate, they're asking for help, we now have a direction we can point them. We can say, here's the information on how to contact the Legal Assistance Center. They will be able to provide you with information on how you can get that PPO that you need to help protect you, to help protect your family, your children. That's why it's important to us. And I don't want to go over all the details. I think the judge did a fine job of covering that. But just from a different perspective, from the perspective of law enforcement, why it's important to us, and why I think it's important to our communities to have this type of resource available to them, so that they can get the assistance they need for probably one of the most challenging times that are in their lives. So just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation tonight, and also being able to help spread the word and kind of share this information with your community, so that if anyone's in need, they'll be able to reach out to the Legal Assistance Center and be able to get some help. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. We appreciate the time that you and the judge put into this presentation. It's very helpful, and I actually had someone ask me about this morning. So now I know where to send them. Is there any questions for any of our presenters? If not, we'll move on to our closed session slide.
So in order to go into closed session, I'll need one of the trustees or board members to make the motion, and it's provided by our attorney on the screen.
We're all shy. This is Marcy. Okay. I move. Oh, this is Marcy. I'm just looking at what, okay. Upon motion by trustee Marcy and supported, okay. The Board of Trustees of Saugatuck Township resolves to assemble in closed session with its township attorney and township litigation attorney in connection with the lawsuit entitled, do you need the whole thing read?
You can just state the legal information as presented.
Okay. Tyler and that part? Yep.
Yeah.
Tyler and Jocelyn Bodish versus Saugatuck Township, filed on January 27th, 2021 in the 48th Judicial Circuit Court, Allegan County, Michigan, bearing case number 21-63732-CZ. Also, Tyler and Jocelyn Bodish versus Saugatuck Township, administrative appeal to the State Board of Construction Appeals. And the motion is in compliance with the Michigan Open Meetings Act provisions, MCL 15.263E.
Perfect.
Thank you, Brenda. Is there someone that would like to support that motion?
This is Aldrich. I'll support.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion about going into closed session? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Marcy?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries. We will now adjourn into a closed session.
So again, how we will be doing this for the board members is you'll be logging off of Zoom. You'll be logging into Teams that was emailed to you. If you have issues, you have my number. You text me or call me and I'll walk you right through it. All right. So
Okay.
for the public, just hang tight. We will be back right here. You don't have to go anywhere, and you can look at a lovely slide that says closed session.
Thank you. I'll now be closing my Zoom session.
Yep, everyone will have to log off on Zoom for board members.
In the meantime, Brenda, are you going to lead the sing-along for the rest of us that aren't in the Zoom?
No, I think I have to join them, but we could do the da 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 da.
You have to join them. Who's going to
Yes.
lead it? Perhaps Joe.
Hi, Dick.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. I thought the meeting was at 7 o'clock. I just joined it now.
Yeah, no, they're in closed session for a bit, so we're all kind of hanging out and waiting.
Okay, well, I'm glad they had the closed session first.
Yeah, all good. They got through a
Good.
couple presentations, one from the League of Women Voters and the other from Alvin County Legal Assistance. So, and then they went
okay.
into closed session.
All right, I don't think I missed anything then.
Nope, you didn't miss anything.
No, I put my name forward to be on Planning Commission tonight, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, very good. Okay, cool.
Yep. So although there's a woman, Denise Webster, who also put her name forward, and she's been on planning commissions before for both townships and counties and
Yep,
zoning.
I know Denise very well.
Yeah, so she's probably more qualified than I.
Well, not for me to say. I'm just along to talk about Household Hazardous Waste Day.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all right.
I'm here for the planning commission too. So hi, everybody.
Oh, couple of you.
Michael.
Hi.
Hi,
Oh my
how are
God.
you?
Good.
Was there public comment? Did I miss anything? I came in a little bit late.
I don't think so yet. I don't think so. I think they might get through this and then open it for public comment, I think.
Okay. I know a lot of times they do it right at the beginning, so.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me pull up the agenda and see if I can.
Looks like next up is unfinished business.
Okay. So I must have missed that part. Township. There it is.
Excuse me, I can help with that. They did a public comment, but they'll open it up for another public comment. So there were a couple people that spoke about, I don't know, just a brief couple of things, but it will open again. I find it a little bit confusing, to be honest with you, especially on Zoom, but I've gotten used to it. I think that it's confusing for the public when there are two public comment sections. They're not really sure which part of the public comment section they're supposed to be speaking on. But anyway, nonetheless, there's another public comment section. So if that answers anybody's questions.
Yeah, well, this is Garn. Generally, the public comment at the beginning of the meeting is just on agenda items specifically.
Right.
And then at the end, it can be on anything.
Right. It's just hard for public who generally never chime in.
Yeah.
When they chime in, it's confusing. But it makes sense. It's very clear, and clearly it makes sense why, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So Denise, any idea how long this closed session will go on?
Well, there you go. I wish I knew. Last closed session was during a planning commission meeting, and it closed session for a while. Actually, I would say closed for a while. Enough for me to have some dinner.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall.
Me too. Yeah, at the same time, I'm kind of glad I don't, in all fairness. Kind of makes, kind of glad I don't. I'm not the fly, I should say. And then there's agenda. I tried to pull it up on my iPad, but it's so outdated, I can't always get things to open.
Yeah, I've got it right in front of me. What did you need to know?
So closed session is out. After this closed session, what happens next?
Unfinished business, then new business, then reports, and then the public comments, and then adjournment.
Unfinished, okay. A new business.
Unfinished looks like recycling, public meetings, and wellhead
Oh yeah,
protection ordinance.
recycling. I'm super excited. That's awesome. Can you hear Randy in the background? He's way more excited than me because he's the recycler. That's my husband. He's in the background telling my mother now, yes, we're going to recycle. In fact, I'm going to turn this off because you never know with my husband what might chime in. So I'm going to mute myself now.
Okay.
A full pool with over 10 million daily.
Think they'd give us some hold music.
Denise, I'm listening to Yacht Rock on iTunes. If you want me to turn my mic up or music up and leave the mic open.
We would love that, please. Any background noise. Although I'm hearing the dishes in the background being done, so I kind of love that. I got to be honest. The clanking of the silverware.
All righty. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Joe.
All right, Cindy's back. Board members, thank you everyone for working with us on that. The board members will be joining us here and we will be able to continue. Hey, Cindy, do you want to just do a roll call before we continue?
Sure.
All right, we'll give everybody a minute and then we can do a roll call. Just make sure everyone's here.
Somebody's TV's playing through.
Quiet.
That's better.
My connection is unstable.
Living in townships, that's the joy, right, Cindy?
Right. And I would hope that the county with their $23 million or however much they get, put some of it into broadband for the countywide.
I agree. I was thinking about that as he spoke, because every day at about 3 o'clock, I get that message that it's unstable.
We might have to do some of that on our own.
I see everybody here. Cindy, if you could do roll call.
All right, just to make sure we have everybody back from closed session. Aldrich?
Here.
Bigford?
Here.
Abby?
Here. Here.
Helmut?
We can hear you. Yeah, okay.
Helmut?
Here and still in Saugatuck Township.
Marcy?
Here.
Osmond? Here. We have everybody back from closed session.
Okay.
All right. And then Brenda, I think you had that.
Yeah. So do we do this before we move to end the closed session or not? We don't have to motion that?
Don't believe so.
Oh, okay, great. All right. I would like to make a motion that the board follow the recommendations of council discussed in our closed session.
This is
Faith Aldrich, I will second that. Oh.
Okay, we have a motion to follow the guidance of our council. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none. Marcy?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
And Osmond, yes, motion carries. Thank you, guys, and we can move on to our next agenda item. It's our unfinished business, starting with recycling. Mr. Fry, would you like to tee that one up for us? Thank you.
So Garnett Lewis is on the call today. In your packet is the request and ask from the recycling committee. I highlighted on here all the items. So 1,250 for the household hazardous waste day, 205 back to basics program, the 220 battery collection program for 2 collections in this calendar year, $500 donation towards using reusable bags with their awesome, cool logo on it. for a total request of $2,175. And then Garnett, if you wanted to trip in on anything else.
Yeah, no, I think I presented this in quite enough detail for you all last month. I know you have a long, hefty agenda yet ahead of you, so I don't want to take too long. I did want to give you an update. As of a little bit ago, we have 52 remaining spots available for the Household Hazardous Waste Day. So it's been a very popular event. So I anticipate that we'll probably fill up all those spots here in the next, probably next week. So, and I appreciate everybody's help. Each municipality's been wonderful about getting the word out and encouraging folks to get signed up for that. And Cindy, thank you for helping our one person who needed the assistance. So thank you very much. So I think I'd rather just open it up for questions. I don't want to belabor this too much.
Does anybody have any questions for Garnet? I'm not seeing any board members having questions. Is there a motion?
This is Aldrich. I approve the request for funding of recycling committee activities for not to exceed $2,175.
Is there
This is
support?
Marcy, I'll support. Marcy, I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing
Garnet
none.
did a great job at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Doing it.
Okay, I'll call the roll. Aldrich,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Osmond, yes, Helmrich,
Yes.
and Bigford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you, Garnet.
Thank
Did a lot of
you.
work.
Thank you, Garnet.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
I believe our next item is a discussion topic, and Mr. Fry will get us up to speed on that.
As you all may recall, at our last meeting in March, that we talked a little bit about continuing on with Zoom meetings or not. And regarding to the revised OMA, which is the Open Meetings Act that was revised last year due to COVID, the township had passed a local state of emergency that allowed us to continue, which at March, the board asked to do that. So we continued to work on that. Then it was asked to table for further discussion tonight on, do we continue to have them on Zoom or not? And that is why this is on here tonight.
And Joe, I understand that the county also declared a state of emergency. Do you know if that's true or?
They may have. I knew a lot of organizations have. I can't confirm if the county has or not.
Okay. Brenda, you have your hand up?
Yes. I just wanted to say that right now in Saugatuck, there are so many cases involving the variant. And I don't know how many people know people, but I'm talking about right here, whole families. They're younger adults like my daughter's age, and they're children that would be my grandchildren's age. So as much as I really would like to get back, to being in person, but right now we have our own little epicenter here, I think. Just based on how many people I know, suggests that we're having a big surge right now.
This is Bigford. I think beyond the health concerns, if we were to meet in person, I'm getting my first shot tomorrow, so I know that we're probably all pretty close to being vaccinated. The maximum amount of people that we can have right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but would be 25. Unlikely we would get to that, but if we did, we would have to either turn people away or cancel the meeting. So I just don't think we want to take that risk at this time. So I would just support the idea of continuing on until further notice, until we revisit this again.
Ron has his hand up.
Hi. Yeah, it's Helmrich. I just want to add to all that. I mean, I think we all know it was only 2 days ago the head of the CDC urged Michigan to go into lockdown again. We've got the worst, the highest increase rate in the nation, nothing to be proud of. I learned of four people I know quite well today, just back from trips to Florida, and they all came back with COVID. So it would not be prudent to change our policy at this point. I think we should continue looking at it on a month-to-month basis for the health and safety of everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If everyone is,
Yeah,
sorry.
I would also just say that we probably don't want to do it every month, but maybe start with a 3-month period.
That's a good idea.
And then look at it again after that.
I will include an update in my next manager's report, just kind of letting you know what the OMA allows for, if there's any changes. So just look out into the next month's report, and I'll give an update with shots and what's going on. The fire chief does very good at sending me an update on our current stats from the county health department. So I'll just kind of summarize that going forward for you all, if you are fine with that.
So it sounds like general consensus, is that sufficient, or do we need to take action on this?
General consensus is fine because our state of local emergency and resolution is still in effect.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. I'm going to call on Mr. Fry again to queue up our next topic, which would be the wellhead protection ordinance needs to be readopted.
Yep. There was a administrative error. After it was adopted in February, it didn't get into the paper in time to meet the legal requirement. So as it was passed unanimously, I am bringing it before you again under old business to pass again, just to do that administrative work for everyone. So the motion is here on the screen.
This is Aldrich. I motion to adopt the wellhead protection ordinance and corresponding overlay district as recommended by the Township Planning Commission.
Helmrich, I'll support.
I have motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Bigford?
Yes.
Motion carries. We can move on to our new business. We have some openings on our Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals, and we have some applications. But before we do that, we need to accept Bill Rowe's written request to be resigned. And we do that with great sadness because he was such a great member. But so we already accepted that. Sorry, I'm sorry.
We did that last month.
Yep, I remember now.
I just
so we had.
Oh, is there if I say something, Cindy?
No, go ahead, Joe. I'll let you cue this up.
Okay, sorry. So at the last board meeting, you requested that interested candidates submit a letter of interest. At that time, when I put that before you and made the motion, I was unaware, which is most communities don't do it this way, which is awesome that we do, is that there's an application process. So everyone wrote a letter of interest. There was a little miscommunication with some folks, so please don't hold that against them. In your packet is a list of all the candidates for the Planning Commission term, and then the planning commission liaison to the zoning board of appeals. Back to you, Cindy.
Back to me. Well, as you can see, I've been stumbling around a little bit tonight, so I'm going to tell you who I have on my list, and you can correct me if I'm missing someone. It's not intentional. I have an application and letter from Russ Harris. I have a letter of interest from Dick Waskin. I have a letter from Denise Webster. And I have a letter from Michael Worth. And I think that is the end of my letters, except for the Zoning Board of Appeals. We did get a letter from Denise Shipley. Does anybody want to correct me on any of those?
That is what was said.
Thank you. Is there any discussion before I make an appointment, which you all have to confirm?
Well, aren't we going to hear from each of the candidates?
Oh, perfect. Yes, that would be great.
I mean, I'd like to hear an introduction, some biographical sketch, and then I hope we have time to ask some questions as well.
Okay, who would like to go first? Michael?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Can.
Good. Hi, everybody. Mike Worth here. I recently retired a couple years ago, and my wife and I built a house down here in Saugatuck Township, right around the corner from the township meeting office. We've been in the area for about 12 years. I got married to Saugatuck about 20-some years ago. And so my professional background has been in product development and marketing. And I've got three major companies background in strategic planning with Steelcase, Moen, and Hayworth. So I've been involved for quite a number of years in corporate strategic planning, budgets, process development, implementation, that kind of thing. So the reason I'm applying is I love the community. I'd like to be of service to the area if I can, and would appreciate the opportunity to serve and to help out getting to our goals. Thanks.
I just have one question, Michael.
Sure.
Are you pretty much available year round, or do you spend 4 months away?
No, we're here.
Okay.
Yep. Good question.
How about Russ Harris? Would you like to make?
I'm sorry, Madam Supervisor. Are we going to do the questioning afterwards or individually?
We can do it individually. That's fine. I didn't have a set plan to do it, but why don't we do it when they're still on?
So I have a question for Mr. Worth.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious, you've been here 12 years. Are there any particular planning related concerns that most interest you to become involved with from a decision-making point of view?
Yeah, I think I'm I got a significant design background, and I'm very sensitive to being careful about development and maintaining the character of the community, and also serving the goals of the community. So I know that communities like ours have to develop and grow. It's good for our tax base and it's good for the community, but also to be very, very careful, especially in our area, because people are so sensitive and appreciative of what a wonderful heritage we have in this area, that to care for that as we move forward with new opportunities. That's the biggest thing on my mind right now.
Thank you.
Yep.
John, do you have any more questions?
I'm going to spread them around too.
Okay.
This is Bigford. I have a quick question.
Sure.
Yes.
And I'll, for the other applicant, if you could speak to this as well. Our planning commission, in my estimation, is in a really great spot right now. There's a lot of great energy and professionalism, and the the people on the committee have been very open to pursuing education related, you know.
Breaking up, I can't hear you very well.
Basically, the question is, would you be open to education regarding planning?
Training.
Oh, training.
Open to education?
Training.
Training.
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry, Abby.
Brenda, do you have any questions?
I do not. I do not.
Stacy?
You've asked them all.
Stacy, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, why don't we then move to Russ Harris? Russ, are you there?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, this is Russ Harris. First of all, I just want to thank you for considering my application for the Planning Commission. A little bit about myself. I have lived in West Michigan my entire life. Born and raised in Holland. You know, after getting married, my wife and I started our lives out together in Grand Rapids, but I had missed the lake, and so I convinced her to move back here, specifically to the Saugatuck area, because I've always loved it here so much. We raised our family here in Saugatuck, in the township, with both of our children going to the schools here, both graduating from Saugatuck High School. While they were in school, some of the things that I did in the community was I would play the music at the football game, DJing the music when the band wasn't playing or that type of thing, just to keep people entertained between calls and whatever. Once they were both through the school, I quit doing that, and I also was involved in the community rec program here for a number of years, coaching my daughter's soccer team. I've done a lot of exploring through the beaches and the trails around the area. I love this area so much. I work for a company here. My experience with work-related type stuff is I work for a company called Zabitat, which is owned by ODL in Zealand. ODL is a manufacturer of door glass, and my job is to sell door glass to individuals throughout the US and Canada with an installation service. I've been doing that for quite a long time now, about 6 years. I also was very much involved with the beach sweep program, specifically with the Douglas Beach, prior to it, you know, being washed away, basically. So I spend a lot of time walking the beaches and parks, and just am really interested in getting more involved in the community. So.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Harris? John?
Sure. Hey, Russ, could you share with us an issue you feel that perhaps the current Planning Commission should be spending more time addressing?
Well, I think that I just appreciate the Planning Commission's efforts to be really careful, as you know, with the development of the area. I mean, as I've stated a couple of times tonight, I really am a lover of the dunes and the beaches here and the natural areas that we have. And you know, I like I appreciate the fact that you guys have done such a great job to help us maintain the feel of our community. And you know, as far as what the excuse me, as far as what the committee has done, I just think that, you know, you've been doing a great job, in my opinion, for the last couple of years. I really don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else have any questions? Stacy?
No.
Brenda?
I would just ask John's other question. Are you open to training?
Oh yeah, I would.
Okay.
If I am on the appointed to the commission, I would be looking into the citizens planning courses at the MSU Extension.
Abby?
Great.
That same question about availability. Are you available year-round for meetings?
Yeah, I am not retired.
I didn't want to offend you. You don't look.
No. 7 more years. I'll be good for 7 more years.
It's a 2-year appointment term. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Harris? Hearing nothing, we will move on to Dick Waskin. If you could unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about why you want to be on the Planning Commission.
Yes, Dick Waskin. I am the broker owner of the Remax Saugatuck office, partner with Bill Rowe in that office. Have been practicing real estate here in the area for the last 35 years. And in that time, have done many things with many planning commissions in both the township, the city of Saugatuck, and the city of Douglas. Very familiar with the zoning in each. It's just part of my job to be familiar with those things. Personally, have lived in the township for the last 23 years in Heron Bay, project that I'm very proud of that we built and developed. My desire to be on Planning Commission is in the sense that having interacted with the many planning commissions, my philosophy about planning commissions is that we have to be equally fair to everyone who approaches us and everyone who we serve in the community. So whether you're Mother Teresa or Attila the Hun, the zoning rules need to apply equally to each. And I have seen, unfortunately, over the years that necessarily hasn't always been the case in some of the communities. And to me, I think that's very important that zoning rules and policies need to be crystal clear. So before somebody even approaches the Planning Commission, they know exactly what they can or cannot do. And I think that makes everybody's position much more clear and everybody more comfortable with exactly what the guidelines are, in our community. I thank you that you're considering me tonight. And I also am thankful that you have 4 very interested and well-versed people who have also applied. I do want to do a special call out to Denise Webster. I read her qualifications and I'm like, oh, fine, I'm just going to step down. She certainly has the history and experience with planning commissions and zoning. And I would actually urge you to give her a very serious look in that. The only thing I think that might be different between her and I is that because I have been involved with zoning issues here for 35 years, that there's a history there. And I think it's very important that the township remembers its history, where they've been, where they're going. I think, in the words of Winston Churchill, that, those who, fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And both the successes and both the failures of things that have happened in the past, it's good that we bring that along with us as we continue to progress as a planning commission and progress as a township.
Thank you. Thank you, Dick. Would anybody have any questions for Mr. Waskin?
I do, Cindy.
Brenda?
Yes. Dick, I'm going to ask you a different question.
Sure.
When, I've had a house here for, 25 years, but we retired here, so we've only been here 3 years. And at first, when I saw there was a realtor on the Planning Commission, I thought, well, isn't that a conflict? However, Bill Rowe has done such a wonderful job. So I just wanted to ask you what you think about that.
Having discussed things with Bill back at the office,
Yeah.
when certain issues have come up and we have discussed them honestly with each other.
I'm losing you all of a sudden. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just, okay. That we have, I've discussed many of those issues with Bill about should he recuse or should he not recuse. He's always erred on the side of recusing himself, even if there was a possibility of a conflict of interest. And I agree with the same, that as a realtor, it might become unavoidable every once in a while that there's going to be something coming before you that either myself or someone in my office is involved with. And then, yes, I would naturally have to recuse myself.
Okay.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a question for Mr. Waskin?
I do.
John?
Yeah, I have to have questions for everybody
Mhm.
as the board rep on the planning commission. So Dick, I wanted to ask you, thinking about your various past experience, what strikes you as something that would be the biggest asset that you would bring to the planning commission?
I hope I stated it in the sense that I would bring a sense of history of seeing where things have gone right or wrong. Certain ordinances I remember back when we were having trouble with the township with water testing, and there were pollution issues in the water, and the township uh, board passed an ordinance about that a well would have to be installed in a property prior to it transferring hands, and that water would have to be tested. And I just said, well, wait a minute, that practically won't work because there are many reasons properties transfer hands. And there are many people who could not even afford to put in a well if they were going to sell their property out in some acreage portion of the township. So the township, I got together with some other realtors and some other concerned citizens. We brought it before the township and the board listened and changed that ordinance to what it is today, now that the water does have to be tested, in any sale that has a home. And I think that was a smart change. So it's things like that that I think would be important to pay attention to.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Stacy, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just enjoying listening. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Abby?
No, I don't have anything further.
Okay.
I'll just ask, can I ask one just quick?
Yes.
In fairness to everyone, Dick, would you would be interested in training?
Yes, Bill was talking to me about the citizen planner.
Yeah.
And I would definitely want to take that course because I think that's really important to know what you can and cannot do legally in a situation like this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you're here year round, right? For the most
I
part?
am.
Yeah,
I do vacation every once in a while, but only a couple
yeah.
weeks at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dick. Let's see who's next.
I think it's Denise Webster.
Denise Webster. Denise Webster.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see you all again.
Yes, welcome back.
Being the last person who presented is my three individuals before me, I can't top any of those. And I agree with everything that they have said in regards to what planning and zoning is about in a township. I am retired. I spent 35 years at Central Michigan University as a certified athletic trainer and a faculty member. And I retired down here in September. I retired in April of 20. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary of retirement. As you can see from my letter is throughout my years up in Isabella County, I always believed in trying to serve the county in some form or another. And I have just put down what I did at the county in regards to planning and zoning. But I was also on our materials recovery committee, and I've done some things with another commission. So I've been involved with our county for many, many years. I moved from one township into another township in the area of Central Michigan. And it's very similar actually to how this area is set up. Is Mount Pleasant is a city and Union Township surrounds the city. So you had to work with the city and the township and then all Union Township. And it was Union Township is growing outside the city limits. And the city is kind of locked right now. There's not much room to grow. So all the growth went out into Union Township. So that was very interesting in regards to the difference from a county to going into a township. I did serve a little bit into another township, but because they became home ruled, I really had to step back a little bit, and I served on their fire board. So I have had a lot of experience in working with townships through my career. I've not been in this particular area very long. It's again, there's a lot of similarities in regards to how the township has to work with the cities, as well as you go on the out township, you become very rural. And that's very similar to Union Township. So that's why again, it was planning and zoning is very interesting, and how you have to work with people in order to, as you talk about properties and what they can and cannot do with their property. That is a very hard decision. And so I'm just willing to put my name in and happy to serve the township now that I become a resident. And yes, I am here, even though I am retired, I am here all year long. I have no plans of going for months. And in regards to training, I have done a lot of training through the different boards that I've been on. So I'm more than happy to do additional training if necessary and if needed and if it's required. I'm more than happy to do that. In regards to Union Township, we just did I was involved towards the end in regards to updating their master plan. And then before I left, we were updating the zoning ordinance. So it's very interesting that I've had to work with the board and the company in order to help us go through a master plan and the zoning ordinance. So I'm more than happy to serve.
Denise, for answering all the questions in advance. Does anybody have any more questions for Denise?
That's the advantage of going last.
Yes.
I have to be fair. I have one more.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, Denise. So when you think back on your days and years in Isabella County and the various townships, can you talk about one issue that remains with you in your memory that was particularly contentious between members of the public and the applicants?
Well, there were several, but the one that, and actually it was the chair of our Isabella County Planning Commission when this came through. It was involved with intensive livestock operation and wanting to bring that operation into the county. And it was interesting. It was a packed standing room only. And the people were very worried about the smell that was associated with it. It would have been a liquid manure pit. It was a very interesting process that did in fact pass, but the amount of people who came in and talked about it. And then the most recent one at Union Township is they wanted to put in a electronic recycling center. And that was also very contentious, as the residents did not understand really what that was going to be involved. It did not pass, which was a shame, but it was just because it was not well understood by the residents. So yeah, those are probably the two that comes to most mind that I was involved with.
Thank you. I'm sure others will flood to your mind later.
Oh, I'm sure. There's been any.
Thank you, Denise. Stacy, do you have any questions?
No. No, thanks.
Abby?
No.
Okay. Brenda?
No, I'm good. She covered them all.
Again, advantage of going last.
Proactive, yes.
Okay. Do we want to let Denise Shipley say a few things since we're doing this all kind of at the same time? Probably be a good idea. Denise, you are on the Planning Commission and would like the position of being liaison with the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is that correct?
Yes, I think it's a great fit for me, actually. I thought about it for a few days, and Yes, I'm really grateful right now for my planning commission role. It's super interesting. I'm wish I'd have started sooner, knowing a bit more about my community. And I think it's a great fit to be a liaison also to the ZBA. I think for me, I like to read and research and then just apply that. And it just seems perfect for me. I'm not usually short of words. I think a lot of you are learning that, unless it's about myself. And so, yeah, all I can tell you is for me, I think it's a good fit. I like to research. I like to know the information. I like to know the correct information. I'll dig deep till I find it. And I think that's important with zoning and planning. And that's why I think it's a good position. So thank you for considering me. And Joe, thank you. We're also starting to get our communications together. And so I'm, without being able to talk to so many people at one time, you hear a little bit, you hear a little bit. And one, we're all new. Well, I'm new, and we're volunteers. So Joe, thank you, because we're starting, I feel like, pulling things together. And I now know there was an application process. So now I can carry forward explaining that to other people too. So thanks, Joe, for helping us out. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Denise. Is there any questions for Denise? Maybe Abby?
No, thank you for your willingness to move into that area.
Yeah.
Stacy?
No, I'm good.
Okay, John. You must have a question.
You have to have a question, John.
You must have a question.
This is not a question, and at the risk of being redundant to the resolution we passed last month. No, I just want to say to Denise, it's so important that we had someone interested, because many of our planning commissioners are new, and this is a vital role. Doesn't have that many meetings a year, but I believe there's a ZBA coming up in May, and it's big shoes to fill. Bill Rowe served in both capacities for quite a while, but I'm sure he'll be available to talk to you. Should you get the nod, that is. So, and then just real quickly, I want to thank all 4 of you again, or 5 of you, but with the planning commission opening, I mean, it's really exciting and positive to get 4 applicants for any of the various people we have to make appointments to during the course of the year. So that's very heartening, especially to get 4 talented people. And just to let you know that 2 of the other commission terms, current commission terms, are up for renewal in June. And we haven't heard yet if those people are interested in staying or not, whatever. So if you're not the one picked tonight, come back, because you're all really strong candidates, and we really appreciate. We need brain power and conviction, and I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Welcome.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that, and I think we do have a plethora of wealth here that we can choose from. I just wanted to open it up to discussion on the board members if they had any comments before I make an appointment.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Cindy, okay, so, all right, so you appoint these 2, so we don't do a motion or anything like that, correct?
I will appoint the planning commission member, and then you will make a motion to either confirm or turn down my appointment if you don't agree with it.
And there are 2?
The no, there's 1 position on the planning commission and 1 position on zoning board of appeals.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's
and
right.
the zoning board of appeals, I do not appoint. Somebody will just make a motion.
Right. Okay.
So
okay. So when you do it, and then somebody will second, just like we normally do. I've been in a meeting. Okay.
It's different. Planning commission by the state law has to be appointed by the supervisor, and then the board votes to accept that recommendation or not.
Yeah, I remember. I've been through it. Yeah.
Process. Not like the other appointments we do.
So Brenda, I'm gonna
Yes.
make an appointment. I'm gonna make an appointment.
Right.
And then one of the board members will make a motion to accept that appointment or to turn it down.
Okay.
Does that make sense then?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm so glad we got to hear everybody tonight. It did influence a little bit my appointment. And I'm glad we have 2 more openings coming up soon that these other talented people will have an opportunity to apply for. But I am going to make an appointment of Michael Worth. And I will entertain a motion.
I motion to accept the appointment of Michael Worth to the Planning Commission? Is that?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I have a motion by Aldrich. Is there support? Anybody? Motion's dying. Okay, Brenda, would you like to withdraw your motion or let it die on the table?
That was me.
That was Stacy.
I'm sorry.
Is that what we do, is withdraw our motion? Yeah, I withdraw my motion. And then do you have another appointment, Cindy, or?
Yeah, it was not easy, but I will make a motion, or I will appoint Denise Webster to the Planning Commission. And I will entertain a motion.
This is Aldrich. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is Bigford. I move to accept Supervisor Osmond appointment of Denise Webster to the Planning Commission.
Okay, do I have support?
This is Aldrich. I'll support.
Okay, do we have any further discussion?
Again, this is a lot of work and I really appreciate everybody who applied for this. And I don't know, I'm not really sure what I'd like to say, I guess, is that I don't know what the reasoning is, but there was more, there was someone or two that had more direct experience. I liked them all. I mean, I've written a ton of stuff down, but I just want to say that I really appreciate what Denise said, but I just wanted to throw that in. I'm big on direct experience because it's such a difficult task. And I may have missed something to which somebody could respond if they wanted. So that's all.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the appointment of Denise Webster and support. Is there any further discussion? Anybody? Okay, I will go ahead and call the roll. Bigford?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
No.
And Osmond, yes. Motion carries.
Good.
Thank you guys for all your work that you put into this, and there will be openings coming up, and I hope you'll stay interested and process the applications.
Yes, can I say also the same thing? It's just, you've been great. I am so thrilled that more and more people want to come forth to work with us, to volunteer on committees. It's just wonderful. So please come back when those openings happen.
And thank you, everybody. I appreciate it, and I look forward to working with all of you and individuals in the township. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you for your
Thanks, everyone.
consideration. Yes, thank you for your consideration, and I think you made a great choice.
Yeah, I would
Thank you,
second that.
Dick.
Thank you so
That's
much
nice.
for your consideration. I think you did make an excellent choice.
Okay, now we have an appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals as liaison from the Planning Commission. And I don't make that appointment. You guys make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, it's Helmrich, that we appoint Planning Commissioner Denise Shipley to serve as the Planning Commission liaison to the Zoning Board of Appeals, available vacancy.
Any
Mrs.
support?
Aldrich, I'll support. Oh.
Okay, I have motion and support. I have motion by Helmrich, support by Aldrich. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we both did.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Helmrich,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Bigford,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
and Osmond, yes. Motion carries. I'll let Mr. Fry queue up the next item that's on our agenda, which is really for discussion mostly. No action is required.
There is a motion.
Oh, there is a motion. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Joel. I'm just confused today.
It's all right. It's been a busy day for everyone.
Yes.
These next two items feed into our budget conversation, so just to be aware of that. So the board, as you all remember, passed the multi-strategic action plan for these upcoming years and selected one of our focus goals as being township hall renovations for this upcoming fiscal year. In order to meet this goal, I am presenting this draft timeline to showcase the steps for the township to accomplish this goal. In your packet is a little bit more a detailed timeline. So, but on the screen, our project planning in broad concept has started. We're looking at about June to have an RFP and that planning ready to be presented in July, where an RFP in July or August will come to you to go out to get a designer, an architect, to design the renovations of the hall. That will go through about September of 22. Going through choosing a firm, doing a site analysis, working with myself and staff on different options. We would then come to the board, basically how it would work. For an example, you go car shopping and you're like, I want a new car. They say, all right, here's a new car. Now here's all the trim levels. We're going to come back to you. The car will work. Now what other things do you want? We'll work with the board on that. We will then come back to you with a final plan to be approved by the board, and then we will go out for construction bids. And that will be towards the end of 22 with the construction, hopefully tentative start in 23, spring of 23. So it is a multi-step process, but to make sure that we are being transparent and looking at everything thoroughly before we commit dollars to this project. If you are fine with working on this proposal and moving forward, I just ask that you accept the tentative project timeline and request me to implement the project, which in case just means I'm going to put the RFP together and bring it back before you. Any questions?
This is Bigford. I know it's hard to, potentially hard to really estimate the cost of a endeavor like this. And I know we've earmarked, I think, $90,000 for this project. At what point would we have a better idea? Would that be in the architectural design planning process where we could kind of get a closer figure with a little bit more accuracy?
So in the budget, I did put about $90,000 as just a placeholder. It could come in less than that or a little bit more. I haven't gone through a large renovation, but I like to make sure that we have enough to cover it. During that design process, we will get a cost estimate for what it is to renovate the building. And then the board will be able to say, we don't want to do that. Can we do something smaller? Or, oh, can we do something bigger because it's in your mind? Yes, we can afford that because it's within our budget. So towards the end of the September process, once we go through the design process, we will have a number. And that's what this first step is to do, is get that number. And what exactly is it that the township board is looking for?
Thank you.
Other questions for Joe before we move on to a motion? I'm not hearing any questions, so I'll entertain a motion.
This is Marcy. I will motion to accept the tentative project timeline and request the township manager to implement the hall renovation project.
Is there support?
This is Aldrich, I'll support.
I have motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Marcy?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Helmrich?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I just hope I can sit in my chair before my term's done.
Really? Yeah.
I knew
we have to keep Scott's chair though.
Okay.
The one with the hole.
Okay. Road asset management plan. I'll cue that up to Mr. Fry.
In your packet, you will see the final draft of the road asset management plan. What it does is it goes over and analyzes our baseline roads and what condition they are in. And what it comes to find out is the township has some of the best roads in the state. If you look in your packet, you will see a couple pie charts going over it. Within the plan, it gives 4 scenarios, a do-nothing plan, and then 3 other different funding plans to kind of see if you put this much money in, how does that impact your roads long term. We look at a 10-year span for that. Also included is, let me just get to the page. We have next fiscal years and the next 2 fiscal years of recommended road projects to continue maintaining our roads where they are. And then there is a few recommendations for special improvements that the board can look at as we do each fiscal year. So what we're asking for tonight is to accept the final draft road asset management plan. Someone's having fun.
Yeah, there's a TV somewhere.
Oh boy.
That's better.
There we go.
Yeah, thank you.
I thought we were in Florida for a second. I was like, oh.
We have a very small house. I'm sorry.
So those special improvements are in there. So what we're asking tonight is to accept the draft road asset management plan as presented. Next month, Prine and Newhoff will be coming to go into more depth, answer a lot of questions so that we can talk about that millage that I mentioned that we would be talking about. Any questions?
Okay, if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Bigford. I'll move to accept the proposed final draft road assessment management plan as presented.
Is there support?
This is Marcy. I'll support.
Any discussion? Hearing nothing, I will call the roll. Marcy?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Osmond, yes. Motion carries. I'm running out of rooms on my roll call sheet. Budget draft narrative, and I will cue that up for Mr. Fry if he wants to take it away.
Of course. No, I'm gonna let you guys roll with this one. No. On the screen, I am just going over, there is a very long budget narrative with the different appendixes in your packet. Tonight, I'm just going to go over some of the highlights of what's in that packet. The financial policy that the board adopted creates a very clear budget calendar. Budget requests went out March 12th and came in. They helped me work in putting this draft budget together. The first draft budget comes to the board tonight on April 14th. We have comments and questions. I take that back and I bring a final budget draft on May 12th, where the board then adopts that tentative plan. That in June, at the June meeting, the budget hearing and final formal adoption of the budget for fiscal year 21-22 is completed. On the screen is a millage overview. The top graph, I'll just move this little, zoom box out. If you look on the screen, can you all see it? All right. These are the 4 different millages that the township has. We have our general operating millage, road millage number 2, our cemetery millage, and road millage number 1. This is the date of the original election and the original authorization. This is the millage rate and the maximum allowed levy with heavily and different state laws that cap them. And this is what we are proposing be requested for 2021. The general operating would be 1 mil. The road millage number 2 is 0.9364. The cemetery is goes back to the original millage for an extension to support our cemeteries to 0.2240. And the road millage number 1, which expires this year, to 0.9967. These two, the cemetery and road, as I note here is in your packet, they do require the authorization of a reauthorization vote that will go to the people. The cemetery is on the ballot for August, and we will be working to get the road millage for November. Below that is a breakout of the millages that is included in appendix, one of the appendixes. Make sure I got the right one. The appendix A, which is the Township Finance and Millage Review Memo, that goes over our different villages and funding mechanisms. Our original operating millage in 1991 was 0.7157, and as you go down, you see how many millages, what the number is. And then this column right here shows what that would be based on our current taxable value. This is what the fiscal year we're in now, what the millage is, and then what it is estimated that it brings in. You will see, due to Headley, our revenues go down due to the Headley rollback, though our expenses go up due to inflation and other costs. So in 2020, the people voted for the tax limitation, which was 64% passed here in the township, to allow us to increase our millage. So with that, and with meeting our goal to have a stable funding source in our strategic action plan, going up to a mill completes that.
Hey, can you go back to the chart a second, please, Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, because it even gets confusing for me, and we all get confused between tax year and fiscal year. So I just want to clarify what it says, the 2021 millage rate, that would be, that would start with the summer tax bills in July.
Correct.
So that's reference to the tax year. But in terms of our budget, it's fiscal year 2022.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions on this slide from anyone? Again, if you have questions, just don't be afraid to pop in. On this slide, I wanted to showcase, and this is also included in your millage review. I believe it's important to showcase how each one of your tax dollars and where it goes for the public. So your tax dollars at work, about almost 40% of your tax dollars goes to support K through 12. So when you pay the township taxes, this is where your money's going. So out of that $1, almost 40 cents goes to K through 12. Another 20 cents goes to ISD, and so on and so forth. The township operating millage is in green. Our road funds that supports our maintaining our excellent local roads, and our cemetery fund, that's about 8% of that dollar, so that's about 8 cents. On here, one of the things in that millage review memo, in this column is our current weighted revenue stream. 19% of our revenue comes in property taxes, and the rest are in other categories. The most reliable revenue stream is our property taxes, as the other revenue streams can be impacted due to economic downturns, pandemics, a computer bust, a housing bubble crash. Those can all alter it. Within the multi-strategic action plan, our goal is to stabilize our funding revenue. So moving to 1 mil for general operations increases our weight percentage from 19% to 36%. And the next two most reliable revenue streams is our tax administrative fee and revenue sharing, which is the CVTRS, which stands for the City, Village, Township Revenue Sharing, which is we get constitutional revenue sharing from the state. That brings our strength and weight of revenue from about the 60% to about 75%. So going forward, if the township in the world, in a region hits economic tough times, we will be able to continue services without looking at cutting those services because we have protected them going forward. Any questions on this?
Hey, Joe, I forget if I've asked you this already. If I have, I apologize. In terms of the draft we're looking at today on the revenue side, did you take into account any of the projected federal relief, COVID relief funds?
No, that is not included in that. The American Relief and COVID bill that came in, that's a one-time project. That is not being included in this, as this is just looking at what our current operating revenue is versus what is being proposed in the budget.
Okay, no, that's what I thought. I just want to clarify, but I think it's been estimated we may see as much as 330,000, right?
Correct. I still have, that is an estimated number from different sources.
Right.
That's coming down from different meetings I've been in. Where that money can go, it might have more strings or less strings. So over the next couple months, I will be having conversations with our state representatives at the MTA, different organizations, to see where those strings are, and then I'll be bringing that to the township board as we go forward. But that would be basically something separate from our current proposed.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And then I think you did put in some of the potential estimated amount we should get by the end of the fiscal year in terms of state revenue sharing from marijuana sales.
That would be in this other revenue category.
Okay, so there's some in there, but
yeah, it is included in this.
Because it could be late, we don't know when these places are opening. Okay.
Yep. The township board set the priority area focus goals of these top three, which we are going to work on all of them, but these are the ones for focus: increasing professional staff, township hall renovations, operating millage that provides growth and stability. Within the budget requests, they gave me additional focus for the budget, which is adhere to our focus goals. Office upgrades to provide an office that can serve the residents in the best possible way. Maintain our trails, parks, and facilities. Better access technology for board members, and work to implement our master plan and other capital improvement plans. I just want to make sure Cindy can, if she's still on. I think she may have lost a connection.
Yeah, she can't even leave the meeting. I mean, she's stuck, completely frozen.
Oh, is she?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to continue. If one of you would like to text her and see if she can jump back on.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, thank you. The budget, so that helped me put this budget together. Our general fund revenue stream, we are looking at, as is required by state law, we have to have a balanced budget, meaning dollar for dollar. And remember, budgets are targets. They can change when we do amendments. So just to keep that in mind. Our revenues, $985,610, which includes $61,310 from our fund balance to fund our MERS pension plan for our township financial policy, as well as meeting our multi-strategic action year plan. Expenditures, $985,610. A couple of items that are focused in this budget is engineering and design work and some possible construction renovations for the hall, which meets goal 1.2, township hall renovations, an internship program for this year, which meets 1.1, increased professional staff and allows for an 8 to 12 month staffing analysis prior to hiring a full-time employee, which allows us to see, do we need a full-time person, and allows us to get some projects to be moved forward. Trail maintenance, which meets 1.3 and 3.1. Housing study, a 5.1 master plan adherence and encouraging affordable housing development and senior housing. That will also assist the planning commission in meeting some of its committee goals, which one of the committees is housing. And that will allow for, the housing study will provide data and information on where we need to go and working with our zoning ordinance. And then in addition, funding the pension plan above the minimum requirements, which meets 4.3 reduction of our pension liability and 4.7 long-term funding for items related to other goals. Any questions on that? There will be a general question at the end in discussion. Other fund overview, the road fund revenues with the millage renewal approval is anticipated to be about $670,000, with expenditures being $670,000. But $190,450 would go to fund balance for upcoming planned projects. Within that expenditures is traditional planned road maintenance, as well as what is being recommended in our draft road, in our now approved road asset management plan. The cemetery fund, $104,300. Again, with millage renewal approval, as that's going back up to the original amount. That's why it's a little bit more than last fiscal year. The expenditures include regrading our drives and adding additional gravel, planting flowers, and looking at a long-term maintenance plan for our cemeteries going forward. The ambulance fund, We are in a contract that provides service for residents in the south of our township. That agreement requires the township pay 10% of that. So revenues coming in is $21,250. Same for expenditures. Other funds include our sewer debt fund. This year, $116,931. This includes collections for 2021 and 2022 due to we will be collecting one in one fiscal year. That is due to accounting practices. If you don't collect it in one fiscal year, it has to be accounted for another. That's why it will be in here. Expenditures would be the same with both payments to the debt. Also to note that the sewer debt fund will be paid this upcoming fiscal year. So that will be the last debt fund that we have. So the township doesn't have any bonds out now. So just to know that's a good thing. Capital fund. The capital fund is a holding fund. It's for accounting purposes. So in the general fund, there's that 90,000. It goes to the capital fund for making sure you check the receipts and it accounts for that. The water and sewer funds, revenue for the water side, 121,800. The sewer side, 116,725. For the water, we'd be adding about $55,000 to the fund balance, and for the sewer side, about $29,000. Also included in your budget narrative, I like to include a fund balance estimator. On this page is each fiscal year's audited fund balance for each of the funds. This is what, based on the approved budget for this current fiscal year, what the fund balance would start off with our next fiscal year. This column is our revenues proposed in the budget, proposed expenditures, and then the fund balance at the end of the year. And this far right column is how much we would be using or putting into fund balance amongst all funds. The estimated would be about $170,000 would be going in. Even though we would use our fund balance for the general fund, we'd still be about 83% funded for our fund balance, which is phenomenal. A lot of communities are quite a bit lower than that. Any budget questions or comments? If you have any, this is the time to let me know. Any tweaks you would like to see going forward?
I don't know.
Any questions for Joe?
Yeah.
Brenda, are you muted?
No, I don't have a question. I have a comment.
Okay.
Joe, I'm just amazed at all the work you've done. And yeah, it's just, what a great job. That's all I wanted to say. I don't have any questions.
Thanks, Brenda.
This is big. And I apologize. This is an oversight. I did sit down with Joe and he did a great job of walking me through all of the budget narrative. So sorry that I did not catch this and in my own studying of the budget and the budget narrative. But could you talk about the 8 to 12 month analysis regarding hiring a full-time staff? I guess Mike, and perhaps that's a non-issue or it doesn't have a cost associated with it, but just in my experience working in the office, I mean, not that it's vast, but I have spent a fair amount of time in the office. It does not seem like we need, our part-time position and then an additional full-time position. But sorry, that was kind of a long and convoluted comment.
No, it's a perfect question, great question. Talking with Mr. Graham and the staff, We have a number of new projects that the Planning Commission will be working on, as well as different things that the board has asked to be completed in this upcoming year. In order to make sure no one's pulling their hair out, this intern will assist mostly our planning department. So assisting Lene, I've talked to her, about possibly having more hours, and currently at this time she wouldn't be able to do that within this fiscal year. But this allows us to allow our new office assistant to learn the job without adding 10 different things on top of just what it currently is, and allows for complete review while these projects continue to move forward. It also allows me to get to know you and the board better, knowing that these other additional projects are continuing to be moving forward as well. And then for next fiscal year, I could come back and say, no, we're perfect. We don't need another staff person at this time. We can handle it or not. It's a low cost investment going forward to meet that goal that has been asked about increasing professional staff in the office, while also making sure it's low cost to us long term. It also helps give an opportunity to give back as a public manager to help the next generation of public managers and public servants get hands-on experience. So that's a personal thing. John?
Yeah, no, and I love and applaud the intern project idea. I think that's fantastic. But relative to what Abby asked and relative to 1.1 in terms of the goals, professional staff, I have two comments. I shared this with everyone in my memo back in early April. And in light of our closed session tonight, I just want to strongly suggest that a tweak that gets made before the next draft addresses the issue that, Lene Wells' talent is so vital, and it gets more important to us every day. And she has expressed interest and availability to give us an extra half day a week. And I just really think we need to consider that, because that kind of professional support is vastly different than a strong intern program, which I applaud. And then I also think on the more administrative level, I think there had been an expectation that after Carol left and we replaced her, that we were hoping by next fiscal year that would be a 5-day-a-week job, because we don't have adequate phone coverage, things like that. And I just would like to see us, and through you, consider that for the next round.
I did talk to Lene about this upcoming fiscal year about adding additional times, and she told me differently. So I will have to come back with you, because she said that she wouldn't be able to in the relative future.
Okay. Well, I'll ask her too, because she had told me a month ago she had an extra half day she could give us, which I think would be fantastic, and we would all be well served by that.
So is that a change that you would like to see, to take out the internship program out of the budget?
Why did you say that?
I'm just asking. I just want clarification.
I just raved about the internship program twice.
I'm just making sure I understand everybody.
No, I'm asking about addressing additional expenditures to increase Lene's time by half a day.
Okay. I just want
That's
to make
what
sure. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm applauding. I love the internship program. I'm hoping it's not one or the other. And I was also, again, saying I think the goal with the admin person should be full-time in the new fiscal year.
I would support those comments that John made about, yes, keep the internship program. I think first it would just be my own opinion, is to increasing the administration or the 3-day-a-week position to a 5-day-a-week position, and to also look at increasing Ms. Wells's time in the office.
I agree with all that too. Mrs. Aldrich.
Just making sure I have the note. I will, once I finish writing the note, I will state it and make sure that's where we're at.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right, so for reiterating, make sure I'm on target. We're going to keep the internship program as presented. Look at buffing up the time and funding for a more full-time position in this fiscal year, and then additional planning services time funding.
This is Bigford. Yes, I just want to clarify that full-time position would not be an additional full-time. It would be
Right.
moving.
Increasing from part-time to full-time, yes.
Expansion in the new year, right?
Excellent.
All right. Any other questions or comments from individuals that you would like to see tweaked, moved around, questions that you had about something in here?
I have more, but I'll defer to someone who maybe hasn't said it, had their piece yet. Anyone? Well, okay. So we've talked about this a lot. First of all, I want to comment first, because you and I have spent a lot of time going through this and reviewing it. It's a lot to digest. But on one hand, I want to applaud you for the timeline and getting such an early jump start on this whole process. I think that's fantastic. I think every year we've improved the format, and you've taken the format improvements a step beyond where Griffin was able to do it. And one thing I really love are these, the blue shadow boxes that highlight, where there's a significant change or something new. It just, because otherwise you got to do it yourself with a highlighter and go back every time and find it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But one other item that you and I have talked about, and I don't know offhand, having said that, how much is in this proposed budget for next year, but that is, I think, our really dire need for improvements to our website and our MailChimp communication and items like that.
I do think over when I was putting this together, there was a branding and website that I did include. I did take that out. I mentioned that with John when we discussed, as we met as I was finalizing this proposal. I did pull it out as that would be an additional project we would look at, and that would most likely have to see some fund balance being utilized to pay for that for this upcoming fiscal year. So the board would just have to give me the directive of doing so.
But just to clarify, because from where I was coming from when our discussion on this was very specifically on a branding study versus upgrades to the navigability and the flexibility of our actual website. Because that was a goal we had a year ago. We weren't able to spend time or money on it. And I still think it should be higher on the list. And that's kind of separate from the branding discussion, in my mind at least.
So with the branding, I've worked with some of our community partners, and they had some branding possibilities that might be of interest to the board. So I have to continue having that conversation. But that would then be able to feed into creating a new website for the township to allow us to be more transparent and allow residents to access more information. So yes, John, we're still on the same page.
And is there specific funding still in this budget draft to fund upgrades and changes to the website?
That would have to be, we would have to either move some funding along or use additional fund balance to pay for that project for this year.
Well, I guess my recommendation would be to get your view on some things that maybe could be moved, rather than us kind of dictate that. I mean,
Oh, and I can do that. Abby,
Yeah.
I see your hand.
I just wanted to sound in, and again, I'm only one voice, but just when I'm kind of hearing this and processing it, I agree that our website is rather embarrassing. It's not easily navigated. It's just not aesthetically appealing. I totally agree that it needs work, but thinking about how we went through this process of identifying our priorities, that was not in our top three. It just wasn't. And, you know, there's staff time and money associated with that project. So while I agree, I'd rather see maybe if those things come along faster than we anticipated, the increasing professional staff, the building renovations, the millage, then we could revisit this, but I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. I'd like to comment on that just in the point of view that the budget is not just about the top 3 goals. I mean, I was going to applaud Joe again on increasing our, contribution to the pension fund, because we've made such progress on that front. That's in this budget, but we're not discussing it as one of the top 3 goals.
This is
I just think if we keep ignoring we've done nothing with the website. And I don't think we should keep ignoring it. And it doesn't come at the cost of one of the top 3 goals. I think there's other things Joe could suggest moving. I'm not saying take more from any of the fund balances. There's a housing study in here. Maybe we don't start it till later. I think that should also kind of come up. We have a housing committee now within the planning commission. Maybe, let's get their input on that too. It's just an idea. I think Joe's in a better position to play with the numbers. That's all.
This is Marcy. I just wanted to say that I thought we'd had this conversation, and it did get moved to a different spot. And we can't do everything in 1 year. I know everything. It really does seem important, and we do need to update the website. But I was wondering if Joe, maybe you were thinking that our new part-time person, if she has that skill, that might be something we look into as part of the position. But I do remember us. I don't know if anybody else remembers, but it wasn't. We've had this discussion before, and it wasn't going to take precedence over other items.
That's not what anyone's suggesting, Brenda.
So I'm going to bring it back here a second. So there have been a couple of good comments. The items that have been requested as our top focus for this fiscal year, I'm going to just re-highlight them for everybody so we're all on the same page. Get to it. I have it right now. Is increased professional staff at Township Hall renovations in our operating millage provides growth and stability. Those are all met within this budget. I did include within this budget additional other projects that were not a focus for this fiscal year, as during conversations, that was something that administratively I thought we could do. As John pointed out, the township has required within our contributions to MERS that we pay above what is required. I am proposing that we pay additional. If it is one of the things, and I do think our website does need an overhaul, we could reallocate that second additional payment to doing a website, which meets a couple more of our other goals about commitment to excellence, being transparent, and other goals as well. So we can still meet other goals in our priority checklist by moving that, because we are still meeting our base funding. We fund our pension system and we put an additional system. So we are meeting those priority goals still within this budget. I just put a third additional payment, which we could move to do a website. So there are ways to do that. I just need that direction.
Well, I think that's what we're asking. Like, that's a great example. Maybe there's another one that sounds more palpable. Because I think, I know you kind of went through this in the overview, but it's really important to realize here that in terms of the proposed expenditure spending amount in this current draft, and I'm talking about the total, because I'm from the old school where the only number in a budget, there's only one number that matters, and it's the bottom line number. The allocation stuff changes, ebbs and flows, but you know, we have to be balanced. And I think, correct me here, Joe, off that I don't have in front of me, but the revenue projected in next year's fiscal budget compared to this year's, it's increased by what, $120,000, $130,000? It's significant.
There is a large increase in the proposed estimated revenue.
Right.
So,
and that's great.
And we can readjust that in the proposal. I just need that direction from you.
I know. I also have this is a process question because I know we're all tired, but in previous years, we've had a separate budget workshop open to the public, often like during the day or late afternoon. And just speaking for myself, I'm a lot more into numbers and those kind of things like that. So I'm wondering if maybe we think about not doing the next budget meeting as part of the May 12th regular meeting, because all of a sudden our regular meetings have such huge agendas. So that's a suggestion and request.
Would everybody be fine with having a special workshop?
Yes, I would, definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
I think we've lost Cindy again.
Yes, I just wanted to tell you, she said she, again, cannot get back on. So I wanted to, I don't know if I'd make a motion to do this, but in the case that she can't get back, I would like to appoint, or I would like to make a motion to appoint Abby as the
chair.
What would you be? Pardon me?
As the chair.
Yes, as a chair, because she's, as the clerk. So I just want to do that in case she cannot get back.
So there's a motion.
You got a motion?
Yes. Yes.
This is
appoint Abby.
Aldrich, I'll support.
What?
Or are we doing a motion?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said something about child support.
No, I said this is Aldrich. I'll support.
I got it.
That's my point about budget discussions at this hour. We need
I think we need a workshop. Yeah.
We have a motion by Marcy and support.
Do we have support?
Is there any other further discussion? If not, I'll call roll call. Helmrich?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Bigford, yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So sorry to interrupt, but
So
thank you.
I will work with you all on getting a date that works for everyone. We can have a further discussion at a budget workshop that we can do it more in depth with, kind of moving some numbers. That sounds good?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay.
Love it.
Yes.
All right. We can move on then. Next thing on the agenda.
Where's the chair?
Agenda item under new business is the ACRC road project proposal. And Joe, you can take the lead on this.
All right. So this is a normal thing that comes to you. The township sends to the county what projects we're working on, and then they submit back for administrative approval for those projects. So what I am requesting tonight is the recommended motion to accept the county's recommendation for the lowest bidder to conduct the road maintenance projects of 4, long number 28, 4, 29, and 315.
Okay, seems like this is general housekeeping and something that we've done before.
Yes.
So unless there's further questions or discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Marcy. I motion to accept the Allegan County Road Commission's recommendation to select the lowest bidder to conduct road maintenance projects 400028, 400029, and PH 30015.
This is
Have a
Aldrich,
motion.
I'll support.
I have a motion by Marcy and support by Aldrich. Is there further discussion? Call the roll. Marcy,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Umrick,
Yes.
Bigford, yes. Passes 4-0. Next on our agenda is, according to this agenda that I have, is the Blue Star Trail engineering agreements. Again, Joe, if you want to kind of give us an explanation on this, that would be fantastic.
The Blue Star Trail Study Committee that was created by resolution has proposed at last meeting in concept a draft interlocal agreement to pay engineers and contract with an engineer that they selected. This is the first step to meeting their goal of a complete interlocal agreement to build, maintain, and everything else for this trail project. This first step is being asked and it has been reviewed by the 3 municipalities, along with the Friends and Engineers, to get this draft agreement. What we'll be asking you is that we still, Attorney Curcio and I, are requesting that you authorize to approve the authorization signature of these 3 agreements as presented, subject to minor modifications requested by other parties to those agreements, and it would be approved by township manager and the township attorney. This allows us to keep moving on this project with everybody.
Any questions for Mr. Fry or comments on this subject? Brenda?
No, I was going to
Okay.
ask if you're ready for a motion.
I would just like to say I'm overjoyed to see some movement on this. This has just been a long time coming and I'm really happy about this. So if there isn't any other questions or comments, I am open to a motion.
As a member of said committee, I would like to make a motion to approve and authorize signature on the final draft interlocal agreement, final draft agreement to pay engineers, and final draft agreement to contract with engineers as presented, subject to minor modifications requested by other parties to those agreements and approved by the township manager and township attorney.
Is there support?
This is Aldrich, I'll support.
I have a motion by Marcy, supported by Aldrich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Umrick?
Yes.
Bigford? Yes. Approved 4-0.
Thank you. 4-0-1. Just playing.
Oh, okay. The next item under new business is the trail proclamation.
So Supervisor Osmond declared this and signed it to make July 5th, 2021 to be recognized as National Trails Day in the Township of Saugatuck. So, and it's here so you can see what was proclaimed.
Wonderful. We value our trails and we're known for them. And I think that to set aside a day just to give it its proper adieu is fantastic. Any other comments on the trail proclamation?
This is Marcy. I'd just like to say that the work they put into this, the volunteer hours, are just amazingly commendable.
Absolutely. There's a great deal of maintenance that happens on those trails. They don't just keep themselves clear, so, and passable and whatever, you know. So, okay, thank you. The next item under new business is Bill Rowe Service Recognition Certificate. It's been said earlier in this meeting several times by the trustees that he's had 14 years of service. He's done a fantastic job, and we just appreciate his dedication to the township and to excellence. Stacy, did you have something?
No, I just wanted to thank Bill for
Yeah.
just doing a fantastic job, and
Yeah.
he will be missed. And just thank you so much for everything you've done through the years, Bill.
Enjoy
it.
Huh?
I said,
not here.
enjoy Arizona.
Well, he's
Yeah.
listening at some point. He's got
Is he? Oh, yeah.
I know he'll see
Pass
this.
it on to him.
All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Bill.
Is there anything else regarding Bill Rowe and his certificate of appreciation? Hearing none, we can move on to reports. John, you are first in line.
Oh, wow.
Treasurer's
So,
report.
my monthly treasurer's report, just to report on the current state of our fiscal health. The general fund bank balance as of April 1st stood at $2.78 million, about the same as a month ago. But again, that still includes the $766,000 from the CD we liquidated. We will probably be reinvesting some of those funds as early as next week. Total revenue year to date across the board is almost 10% ahead of budget, which is great. And our year-to-date expenses are running 15% below budget. Both are improvements from the situation in March. If you look at just the general fund itself, revenue kind of mirrors it. Revenues at almost 10% ahead of budget. Expenses are about 4% below budget. We continue to have no departmental overages that need discussing. And again, pointing out some significant revenue lines that are well ahead of what we thought they would bring in. These include the annual marijuana permits. More of them have been paid this month. We've had some reimbursements for elections that are owed to us, like by some of the school boards and such, and also some road work reimbursements from the county. Fiscal state of the township remains excellent. Investments. Can you show the other slide now, or do you want to wait, Joe?
I can show it now.
Yeah, because a couple things. This is a new slide. The treasurer by state law should be reporting in detail on investments on a quarterly basis. As you know, I've been doing it on a monthly basis in general, but I've now put it into this format that, I mean, I'll probably do it monthly, especially since the next couple months, this total will grow as we invest more of the available funds we have. So we're at the grand total. We have $1,150 million invested. The significant thing here is that's a 50% increase of where we were in December at the end of the year, between the liquidation, the reopening of Michigan class, and then we did buy our first federal bond, Federal Home Loan Bank bond through D.A. Davidson in March. And as I said, we're probably about to buy another one, and perhaps even a new CD product with a different bank than Chemical TCF, because the CD markets actually, like all the markets, has been improving. So thank you for the slide. We can go back to the other one. Just my final notes on where I sit, the treasurer's chair. We settled our 2020 tax year with the county on March 19th. We owe 2 of our disbursement partners a final payment. We've approved that in the consent agenda. And we're also going to receive refunds from a couple of the other ones. And my aim is to have all that totally balanced out in the balance sheet by the end of this month. And let's see, I think that's all I need to say on the fiscal front, unless you have any questions.
Thanks, John, for your always detailed and well-compiled report. And it's just nice to hear the money side of things and be reassured that we're doing great. So, and if your voice is holding out, you can move into your planning commission.
I know. These didn't used to run in together, but oh well. Planning Commission. So you're going to wonder, why am I doing this? The Planning Commission did not meet in March. We're not meeting till Monday, April 26th. But there's still been some activity and news I just want to share with you guys. The 3 special committees of the Planning Commission are in full formation. Some are a little more advanced than others, but to remind you, there will be a subcommittee on 1, attainable housing, 2, rural character and conservation, and 3, Blue Star Corridor / economic development. I'm working with Dave Eiley on the economic development side of that 3rd committee. We've invited two township residents who are also business owners to join the committee. The manager of Big B Coffee on Blue Star has said yes, she's very excited to do this. And just an aside, her boss's boss's boss, the founder and CEO of Big B Coffee, is a resident of our township. So I think she'll be a welcome addition, and we're waiting to get final response from a couple of other people. Let's see. Just a reminder, last month, the board, we requested that the Planning Commission investigate a potential historic district near the Kalamazoo River mouth and get back to us with pros and cons before anything happens or doesn't on that front. But at the meeting at the end of the month, the executive director of the Michigan Historic Preservation Network will be making a presentation to the Planning Commission. He and I had an hour meeting last week. He was one of the 2 letters you might remember back in, I think, October or November, that had written in support of such a district, and also saying what a detailed, it can be a long process, but we said we would ask them to look at it and give us more information, and that's exactly what's happening. And then sort of related to that, I think everyone got a copy of this, but the Army Corps of Engineers this week had Zoom meetings with all the native tribes that had weighed in on the historic review of the North Shore's property. Those all happened this week. Next week, they're doing one with all of the other what are called consulting parties, and that includes us, the township. Joe and I are going to be on that call. That also includes Michigan Historic Preservation Network, National Trust for Historic Preservation, and the developers of the property, Mr. Bosgraf and his council will be on this call next Friday. So more on all that later. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. While you guys did not meet, thank you for giving us
Sounds like
a report on all of your diligent work. Thank you to all the Planning Commission members, as always. The next committee report would be Road Commission. Brenda, would you like to take the lead on this, or?
I'll start, and then if Joe wants to add anything to it. Mine is just more a comment. We've had pretty many road meetings, whether it be with Dana and his team or the road commission. And I just have to say, I don't know if any of you looked at some of the charts and stuff that were on here, but I am just, again, so impressed with Dana and Connie, and I can't remember the other woman's name that we met with, Joe. But they're just amazing. The work that they do, it's just really good. And of course, the roads commission themselves have been very good to work with. So I just kind of wanted to add that. And I wonder, should we have a Parks and Trails committee report? We don't need one today. We've already discussed it, and it's not, I don't think the duration's going to be that long of this particular committee, but so I just wondered if for the future, since we have the recycling committee, if we should add that. I mean, we need more reports, right?
Oh, for the
Anyway.
trail. Oh, I was sorry, Brenda.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I was like,
Yes.
parks. I'm like, there's a parks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the Parks
Parks is
Commission.
coming up, right?
Talking.
So Joe, I don't know if you had anything to add.
No, I did not. About the roads, we've been working very hard on running this road asset management plan. Me and Brenda have been talking about some other road projects that are coming down the pipeline that, you know, we're working really hard on thinking on a couple recommendations to bring forward. But we're still, you know, pondering that, and those other projects coming along. So been very, very busy.
Excellent. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Joe. Stacy? Report?
Fire report. State of Michigan experienced 30 fire fatalities so far in 2021. And there was a 2151 emergency pump shaft that housing repair for $17,000. That's quite a chunk. We sold a 1910 Amber rescue boat to Presque Island Fire Department for $5,000. And there was a successful vaccination clinic popped up in 3 days' notice, and it ran very smoothly. Thank you to Bill Wester for letting us use a golf cart to help transport people, and to Back Alley Pizza for providing pizza at a greatly reduced price. Grasska Fire Department loaned us signage for the clinic and set it up for us, and the SCA loaned us their parking lot for the students to park for the day. Chris Mantles is applying or submitted a grant for AAA safety grant stabilization struts for $12,000 to $14,000. The fire board approved a $1,000 funding for the household hazardous waste day. And we also discussed the I-96 construction work and difficulty it could create for the fire department. They want to be prepared for emergency situations during the reconstruction. That's it.
Thank you. Our next report is the Parks Commission, and part of our packet on page 165 is the Parks Report. I assume all of you have reviewed that. Are there any questions or comments from either board members or any highlights from Manager Fry?
Did want to comment that there has been an update on the shoreline restoration. We applied for some grant funding for that. Dana Bird has been working very hard on this. We have received a notice that the granting authority is reviewing this currently. So I'll have more information and more details later, but that is good news.
Any other questions or comment on the report? I'd just like to say thank you. It's very detailed and we can get a real good idea of what's going on and what progress is being made. And thank the Parks Commission as well for all the work that they do. Joe, are you now our representative on the authority, the Cal Lake?
No, I have not received an update for emergency services or Cal Lake, so there's no update on those reports.
Okay. Interurban is part of our packet. We thank Lori Babinski for attending those meetings and keeping us apprised of what's going on in the interurban. Any questions about her report? Okay. The last report is the Recycling Committee, which is also part of our packet, page 167. Let's see, I don't think we have at this hour anybody that's part of our committee.
Lori's here.
Lori Goshorn. Lori, Are you there?
Yep. I'm here.
Would you like to give some highlights on the recycling committee report, or add to it, or?
Turn your video on. We want to see.
Great, for crying out loud. Can't see anybody.
Hey, there she is.
And here he is. I can't see any of you. I don't know what I turned off. I guess I'm still relatively new. I know that we're having a very successful collection, as Garn talked about tonight. And we're building some information and momentum on the whole composting thing. And I would like to encourage all of you to come on the 24th to the pop-up composting event. I think the more the merrier, and I think the more you guys are versed in, you know, that is a concept that has potential growth in our area. You know, would be good for you guys to be as aware of what's going to be done or what's happening at different points. But other than that, I really don't have much else to add because I'm still relatively new. But I'm looking forward to learning more and more from these really well-informed people. It's a terrific group. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. There's a lot of great things that are happening, great ideas, great people on that committee. Thank you for your service on there as well. Any other comments or questions for Lori, the board? Not see any. So I will turn it over to the manager, Mr. Fry, to give his report.
All right. Just a couple of highlights that I wanted to mention. We hired Jennifer Drew as our new office assistant. She'll be starting next week, and I am super excited for her to be starting. I think she'll fit in very well with us. The building services RFQ that went out, the deadline is on 4/23, and we'll be following our internal review policies that will then come to you for a recommendation and an analysis on that. COVID-19, so the federal government did pass the American Relief Act that has money, about $330,000 coming towards us, estimated. More information is to come on that. The trail bridge repair near the ice cream shop and trailer near Veterans Park, that is almost completed, and the way it looks, it should be done this week. So that's going to be great. Dana Bird has been phenomenal on making sure that they're following the codes going on, so I'm very thankful for him. A couple things I did want to ask you about, and it's, you don't have to give me an answer today, it's something to think about. I think it'd be fun to have a mural competition to paint the brown edge walls, since it is a very artsy community, to have a fun competition with one wall for students to paint a pretty mural, and then a local artist to paint a mural on one of the walls, just to kind of spruce up the building while we go over this renovation process. So something to think about. You guys would like to look at it, I can look into it more. And I'm working to highlight some of the Earth Day, Earth Week events that will be next week. As Lori mentioned, the recycling committee is doing this worm composting. Wormies out of, I believe, Holland or Jennison is coming down to do that for them. So that will be good. And one question that I would like to bring up for you next month is a quarterly board workshop, so that we can, I can get to know you better, and you can get to know me better, so I have better direction from the board as we go forward. and so that we can have a nice open conversation without, a very formal list. So it'd just be conversation, no action can be taken at the meeting. So it's just talking about where we want to see the township go. So that's something I would think would be good, and I'll have that on the agenda for next month. So look out for that. That is all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
I like the mural suggestion and I really support that. That's very creative and I never would have thought of it, but I love it. And I definitely would like to see the quarterly workshop subject be on next month's agenda.
I'll
Anybody
second
else?
that. I love the workshop, the quarterly idea. We've talked about the parameters of doing that for a while. And I think quarterly is a really good place to start. And I hope we never get to the point where it's twice a month like some municipalities. So thank you for that, Joe.
Agreed.
And if they could be earlier in the day, probably would be better if that's an option.
And not at Township Hall, somewhere.
Oh, okay.
COVID dependent, obviously.
Obviously.
And OMA, we have to follow the rules.
Yep, we can still do that. We got Zoom now.
All right, that leads us to the open board report. Ms. Aldrich, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. It's getting pretty late, so I think I'll just let it go.
Can always be brought up at another time.
Yeah.
Helmut.
I've said enough. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. It was a long meeting. We went dug through a lot of stuff.
Marcy?
Yeah, I do just want to say a couple of things. Even though it's late, I can't believe this. I'm not tired. Sorry, guys. I don't know why. Iced tea, maybe. I don't know. So I just wanted the presentations. I really liked listening to Kathy Brockington. It's a subject I am so interested in. If you guys could see the gerrymandering of the 6th congressional district in Illinois, you would not believe it. There were tendrils going all the way up to Lake County, DuPage County, Cook County, and Will County in little slivers. So I find that so interesting. And then I really appreciated hearing Judge Baker and Sheriff Baker. I did not know this organization existed, and I do know of people that maybe they've used it or could use it. I just think it's wonderful. And then I wanted to say regarding, and she's not still on, not Denise Shipley, the other one. I just wanted to say that when I had forgotten our regular process that, Cindy does these appointments, but I didn't know any of the candidates. So it gave me the opportunity to be super objective instead of subjective. So I hope nobody took offense.
Denise, you appointed her to the Board of Review.
No, Denise Shipley is Board of Review. I'm talking about Webster.
No, Webster. We appointed her to Board of Review.
I know you did, but my vote was different. That's all I'm saying. I don't want anyone to be offended.
And Brenda, maybe you should be on Kathy Brockington's.
I was going to nominate her right now.
Okay. Sounds like you're into it.
I'd have to do some research, but it is something I'm very interested in.
would
So
be
maybe
great.
we can put that on the next
I'm the new
agenda
water
if we-
girl, so you can
I
help.
think we should.
Yes.
I think we should join the cities you're in. It's really important.
It is really important. And then COVID. I just wanted to say something really quick. I was downtown Saugatuck Saturday, and it does look like most people think it's all over. On the sidewalks. I mean, our retailers are still really good about demanding mask wearing. But I've been in drugstores lately and places where I just can't believe it. And I think the owners are tired of saying something, number one. Number two, especially in Meyer, probably don't want to get shot. I don't know, because there have been so many. It's just different. So I was thinking, I don't know if eventually, or if it maybe is not in our purview, to make some kind of statement or a little campaign, or maybe even using some of those funds to do some kind of, I don't even know how to encourage people to wear masks, but as you can tell, I'm deeply concerned for our younger citizens. Us old people are mostly all vaccinated. So just an idea that I wanted to mention. That's all.
Redistricting would help.
Yeah.
One question.
No, dead serious. The Michigan House and Senate seats are some of the worst examples.
Yeah.
They don't represent the percentage of the vote that certain parties get. And they've been fighting the governor tooth and nail.
I know. She's really between the proverbial rock and a hard
And
place.
we're all suffering because of it. And
Yes.
I'm sure she's tormented, but.
Yeah.
Go ahead, a comment?
Comment for the board. When, from my understanding from Kathy Brockington's, it kind of seemed like she would like someone to join them now, as in May is when some of these hearings are. So if you'd like to make the appointment, it might be too late at that point. So it might be.
Okay. Well,
just, you can always change it in May, but I just wanted to, you can do what you would like, but I just wanted to point that out.
well, I'm open to it if we can do it. And then if I find out that, because the bike trail and roads have been so busy, but I think at least roads, I think that will calm down a little. So I'm definitely open to it. And if it turns out it's not a good fit after I do some research, I'll let you all know. But I'm perfectly happy to be appointed if that's what you want to do.
Thank you. That's what I want to do.
Yep, I do too.
That's what friends are for.
Thank you, Brenda. It does sound like they offer a wealth of expertise, and we just kind of need to come at least that's how I am interpreting it. We just come on board and come alongside of them. So do we need to make a formal action on that, or just kind of consider that we would like Brenda to join them?
I think you just start speaking with her.
Okay. It's not a formal, she's just gonna join the group at this point. If we need to go back to it at some point, we can.
Okay.
I do not have anything to add. Thank you all for your stamina, digging deep for it. That leads us to public comments.
Wake up, Donna. It's your turn. Is she still here?
Yes. Yes.
If you're speaking for yourself, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, you get 5 whole minutes. So please raise your hand or say something. I see Denise Shipley, you're first in line. Go ahead, Denise.
I just, because I can speak for the public comments. Thank you. I appreciate your confidence in me. I look forward to working with Denise, another Denise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I just wanted to say thank you. I did have something about the website. Is there some creative way to get some help from like college, Grand Valley students, or somebody because somebody wants this on their portfolio. You know what I'm saying? Somebody wants to help with web design. And I think that, if we got creative, we could find somebody that would do it just because they want that. I could tell you a few Grand Valley students offhand that would be willing to do some work, I'm sure. So just an interesting thought if you're looking for an inexpensive way to get, because these kids are really good at that. And that's what they're doing in schools. And I think it would just be just one option. Oh, and I did have one other thing. There's speaking of schools, Western Michigan does a certificate in cultural and environmental heritage management. So when you're talking about the Heritage Historical District, just a thought, Western Michigan also, I think if we tap into some resources with school, they may be able to help also. So just a thought on that. That's it. And again, thank you for having me as a liaison. I really appreciate your confidence. So thank you.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know if she meant to do it, but Donna has had her hand up all
Donna
night.
Leonard's hand's been up all night.
Oh,
Do we have to wake her up? I'm not kidding.
Probably not even.
She's
there.
probably asleep in her chair.
Are you there, Donna?
Donna.
Donna.
Huh.
Thank you for your thoughtful comments and suggestions. You will be given some thought. And we also thank you for sitting through these really long meetings.
Yeah.
I like your commitment to just gathering information. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I see that, I don't think Donna, I think she's dozed off, and that's unfortunately, I invite her to come in to the office and chat with us there.
I kind of want to know what
Lori,
you want to say.
Okay. Am I missing anyone?
There's no one else here.
I think this might be a new record.
Yeah. Yes.
35 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, this is incredible. All right, with that, I would entertain an emotion to adjourn.
No one wants to leave. This is Marcy. I will motion to adjourn today's meeting at 9:45. Right.
I will. Oh, who support? I'll support.
Okay.
All right, I motion by Marcy, support by Aldrich. No further discussion. I'll call the roll. Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Humrit?
Yes.
Bigford, yes. This meeting is adjourned.
I will be in contact with you guys about the budget workshop. So
Excellent.
have a
Good
great
night,
night.
right?
Sleep well.
You too. Bye, guys. Great meeting.
Bye.
Guys
Not
and
too soon,
girls.
though.
Women.
Not too soon.
Yeah.